Hi, I'm Kat, and this tutorial is for this zigzag friendship bracelet. I think it's number 24 on friendshipbracelets.net, and this one I put a clasp on, a little heart clasp and some end crimps. So, that is that one. And I got a request for this one, so that's why I made it. And in this video, I actually also show you how to set up your strings so that your colors will come out in rainbow order, because the first time I made it, I tried to make it rainbow stripe and they just ended up wherever. So figured that out for you, and I hope you enjoy it. To get started, you'll need to cut 8 strings to 40 inches each if you want to use clasps to end your bracelet. If you want to use braids on either end, I recommend cutting it to about 45 or 50 inches each. And then for this one, I'm doing it in rainbow colors, and I want it to be in the order of the rainbow. So I want it to appear red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and then my extra white string. And in order to do that, you'll need to lay them out in this exact order: green, yellow, blue, orange, indigo, red, violet, and white. If you don't lay them out in this order, they'll show up in whichever order they please, basically. So it'll be random, unless you lay them out this way. And this yellow one, I promise, is actually supposed to be next to green. So, this is a 1-2 pattern, so it's going to alternate between having these 2 outer strings included in a row and then having them not included in a row. So for the first row, after you've laid out all your strings in order, you're going to be working from left to right, and you're going to do backward forward strings. So I'm going to make the yellow knots over my green string, doing backward forward knots. And since I did backward forward, my strings are not going to switch place, they're just going to stay right there where they were. And you're always working in pairs. So the next one is orange and blue, doing a backward forward knot. My strings do not switch place. And then with red and indigo, do a backward forward knot. And with the last row, backward, forward, strings do not switch place. Got it? Okay, for the second row, now you included these 2 in that last one, so you're going to take them out for this one and pair off your strings. Make sure you keep them in the correct order that they ended up, otherwise your colors are going to be in whichever order they want. And then we're going to do forward, so left string tying onto right string in each of our pairs, forward knot, forward knot, strings are switching places, forward knot. So those strings have all switched places. Make sure they stay in the correct order. Bring in your 2 outer strings, and everything's going to pair off again. Third row, forward knots, tying your left string onto your right string, string switch place, forward knot, forward knot, and forward knot. So your strings have all switched places. Everything gets paired off again, and once again we will do forward knots all the way across. Those strings switch place. yellow over violet. Ooh. Get under there. And that's your last forward knot. Now you're going to bring your outer strings back in, pair everything off, being careful to keep everything in the correct order. And then we're going to do forward-backward knots. So my blue is going to go over indigo, starting like a forward knot, ending like a backward knot. Then my strings do not switch place. Green over violet, forward, backward, yellow over white, forward, backward, and orange over red, forward, backward. Strings do not switch place. So that was your next row, and for the last row in this set you're going to do backward knots, taking out the outside strings, pairing everything off again. Green over indigo, going to make a backward knot. Those two switch place. Yellow over violet, backward knot. And orange over white, backward knot. There you go. So that is all of the steps, all of the 6 steps. And I'm just going to start over from the beginning and do this again so I can make sure that you understand it. So your first row, you're going to use all 8 strings. Bring back your outer strings, and we are going to do backward, forward knots. So green over blue in this first one. Backward, forward, strings don't switch place. Yellow over indigo. Backward, forward, strings do not switch place. Orange over violet. Backward, forward, strings don't switch place. Red over white. Backward, forward. Alrighty then. Make sure everything is still in the correct order. You don't want to get this far and then muck everything up. So you'll take out your outside strings again for this, basically what's the second step. And we're going to do forward knots all the way across. Forward, string switch place. Forward. And forward. Make sure everything's in the correct order. Bring your outer strings back in again and do more forward knots. Forward. 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 Again. And this is what helps it be easy to keep track of. Basically, you're going to do backward forward with all 8 strings, and then you do forward with 6, forward with 8, forward with 6. So if you're having trouble remembering what step comes next, just think about, have I already done the forward with 6, forward with 8, forward with 6? If you just did the forward with 6, then you know it's time to go back to your 8 strings and do the forward backward, and after the forward backward, you know it's backward. I probably just confused you even more, but that's how I keep track of it. So there you go. So I just did my forward with 8, now I'm going to pull these strings out and do my forward with 6 again. Forward knots. So now obviously I've just done my forward with 6 strings. So I'm going to bring these back in and I will do my forward backward. And once you get further along in the bracelet, you'll be able to see, okay, I've got my, at least if you're doing this in rainbow order, you'll be able to see I've got my red, orange, yellow, green, blue. I know if I tie on with this string, then violet's going to come next. But if I tie on with this one, doing a forward backward, then I know indigo's gonna come next. So it gets harder to make a mistake the further on you get in the bracelet. So that's forward backward. Forward backward. Backward. Forward, backward. So I've just done my forward backward, which means my next step has to be backward, and I just use 8 strings, so the next one has to be only 6 strings. We'll do my backward knots. String switch place after my backward knots. And that is the end of your 6-step pattern. So, again, if you want to write this down, you will do, you start with 8 strings, do backward, forward, then forward, then forward, then forward, then forward, backward, then backward. Again, that is backward, forward, 8 strings, forward, 6 strings, forward, 8 strings, forward, 6 strings, forward, backward, 8 strings, and backward, 6 strings. So that's what helped me learn this one and keep everything in order, and I'm just gonna keep And once your bracelet is the length that you want it, just go ahead and decide how you want to end it. is your finished bracelet.